The fight over illegal immigration is moving to the nation's college campuses. States are debating whether to let students who aren't legal residents pay the same lower in-state tuition fees as U.S. citizens. This summer, a new law goes into effect in Georgia, making students who are there illegally pay out-of-state tuition, which is often 4 times higher than what Georgia residents pay. Joining me now, Pat Buchanan, an MSNBC political analyst and author of State of Emergency, and Josh Bernstein, Director of Federal Policy at the National Immigration Law Center. Gentlemen, good morning.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chris.
The argument is, Josh, why should a legal U.S. resident from 49 other states pay more in Georgia than an illegal resident there? Is that fair?
Well, the main thing to remember is who these kids are that we're talking about. These are really the best and the brightest of their generation. You know, they're the children of undocumented immigrants who grew up here, who stayed in school, out of trouble. They really persevered against great obstacles in order to graduate from high school and get admitted to college. And so, you know, we all benefit if they are able to go to college. And it's kind of a red herring to bring up, you know, the fact that non-residents of the state are not allowed to get in-state tuition. That's the whole idea of in-state tuition. And holding back immigrant kids who are talented and able is not going to help other kids, non-residents or anybody else, to be able to go to college.
In fact, there are at least 10 states, including the nation's largest, that do allow students who are in the country illegally to pay that lower in-state tuition. You can see those states on the map. Pat, are they wrong?
Well, I disagree with them. It's clearly a state decision, Chris. But let me give you an example. Massachusetts rejected in-state tuition favoritism for illegal aliens for a pretty good reason. There are folks that live right across the border in New Hampshire and work in Massachusetts, would love to have their kids go to these good Massachusetts schools with in-state tuition. Some of them are veterans. They may have served in Vietnam, and their kid can't get in-state tuition, but a kid who's broken the law and in the country illegally can. You can imagine the sense of outrage people feel about this injustice. The fact of the matter is they are here illegally. If you give them in-state tuition, you're given another big magnet for people to come to this country illegally.
But are we being inconsistent here, Pat? I mean, states are required by law to educate all children from kindergarten through high school, regardless of their legal status. So if we don't help illegal immigrants go to college, are we creating a generation of kids with the education to go further, to help buy their education in this country, but without the access?
Why should a kid who is here illegally be given a benefit, say in California, that a kid in Nevada doesn't have? As for the education all the way through 12th grade, that's not a law. That's Plyler v. Doe, a 5-4 Supreme Court decision, which again created a massive magnet, Chris, for people in Mexico. Get across the border, your kid will be educated free through the 12th grade and maybe get in-state tuition through college. That is what is drawing people here. But every time voters have been allowed to vote on it, in California, in Arizona, they have rejected all social welfare benefits except emergency benefits. I think it ought to be left up to the voters.
Josh, are we kind of creating a line of illegality that if we allow them to have these in-sense subsidized college educations, then legally they don't have the papers? They aren't even supposed to be working in this country.
That's absolutely right. And, you know, I mean, it's pretty obvious that these particular young people who, remember, they're the ones that came here when they were 3 or 5 or 7 years old. They've grown up in the states and gone to school in the states that we're talking about. But it's very, very likely that Congress is going to see its way to providing them with a path to legal status. They're going to be here the rest of their lives. The question is, are they going to be here educated and able to fulfill their potential to pay taxes and to be able to contribute? Or are they going to be uneducated and forced to work to underachieve and to do things that don't require an education?
But you know, an education is an enormous benefit. There are half of the American kids get out of high school, they go right to work. Is that fair to make these kids going out, doing construction jobs, to be paying for the college education of people here illegally? No wonder there is such rage in this country among law-abiding, honest citizens that these kinds of imposts are put upon them.
We have to let that be the last word. But
disingenuous.
Pat, Josh, thanks to both of you. It's a debate that will continue. Finally, some relief at the pump. AAA numbers show that gas prices are starting to fall. Today's national average is